YouTube works. It's kind of a pain. Give me 1 sec to fix it. Give me a sec. Just gotta fix this thing real quick. Interesting. Does it seem any better? People who are, you know, back or whatever? Sorry, once again, just fixing the YouTube thing real quick, and then we will be back to it. Are good to go once I grab the YouTube comments for myself, and we will be good. There we go. Cool beans. Sorry about that, back to the video.
So I need numbers now because I'm about to get another big meeting, I guarantee you. Alright, they've spiked my tyres, I've got a car in front of me, I've got cars behind me, my tyres come off. They are just relentless. There's like 5, 6, 7 cars right now.
Does she think if she runs away enough that they'll just stop? Again, like, this is not the behavior of a rational, like, person. She's unable to think ahead to the point of understanding that there are consequences for her actions. This is, like, textbook not culpable.
And they are blocking my Facebook feed. I am driving on metal. I have my dogs in the back. I need assistance now.
Yeah, the car seemed to do okay considering it was on the rim.
I am here in peace. I would like to have a conversation with one man or woman, please.
Rachel, I got your name wrong. Now get out of the car.
What is your name?
You're under arrest. Get out of the car.
I want to see due process of law followed. What is your name, Sergeant? No, don't go grab her. If you assault me, then that will be personal liability. I want to have a conversation with a sergeant. Thank you. As a living woman, that is my
I miss the living man.
right. I've committed no crimes. I have said that I refuse to contract with you. I am not under your jurisdiction. However, I'm happy to have a conversation. I am not violent.
I'm not violent. I'm just incredibly negligent.
Like I said, I'm happy to have a conversation.
Worse than that, she was asking for help with this. She refuses to accept other people of consequences for their actions. True.
I'm not violent, but I also refuse to contract, so I'm happy for a conversation. But you need to tell me your name and show me your ID, as is required by law.
How do you proactively deal with delusional states like this? Can you? You just gotta wait until people like, there must have been signs along the way that she was getting into this and was getting detached from reality, right?
So who is willing to have a conversation with me as a man or a woman? I thought the New Zealand police are supposed to be following law. I want to have a conversation.
Oh, there's a dog.
Right, what's your name? Are you the one? Oh, they're pepper spraying me. They've just pepper sprayed me. What? What have I done?
Do you not know what you've done? You ran from the place. I seriously hope she gets help. Because I think she was seeming irrational beyond that of just a typical sovereign citizen. Here's a guy who's also a sovereign citizen supporting her in court.
So folks, just an update on Friday.
Fenekakami says, even if shaming doesn't stop them, if people stop platforming these kinds of people and understand why what they say is bad and stop listening to them, I feel that will at least be a step towards stopping the spread of destructive behaviors. Sure.
The 26th of April 2024, here I am outside the Nelson Courthouse, supposedly a public building where I've just been evicted. by senior security, a guy Tony, and a few of his goons with police backup. Apparently I'm disrupting the court by having conversations regarding pedophilia. This is not a place to be discussing pedophilia, and
What? What?
it's not a place to be discussing unlawful theft of children, apparently. So they don't like me being in here. I wasn't allowed into the actual courtroom where Rachel is now being tried for, I believe it's possibly an assault charge against the Oranga Tamariki woman, when her video footage that many of you would have seen by now actually clearly shows if there was any assault, it was probably from that woman on Rachel, not the other way around. Certainly that woman was harassing her, following her down the street as she's recording, and
The police officer was following her because she was pulling her over!
pretty much in her face. So there'll be an interesting outcome to see what happens with that. They do not want this message getting out. They do not want Rachel out, and they will probably try and hold her in remand and not bail her because they do not want her work continuing.
This is one of the reasons that it's difficult for me to simply just say that sovereign citizens, like, are all mentally ill. Because, like, that woman's paranoid, and this guy might be too. But the minute it starts involving multiple people having the same delusion, it gets out of the realm of simply potentially being like a clinical mental illness and becomes a sociological phenomenon that becomes a problem for everyone. I don't know.
So this is where we're at right now with the state of law or lawlessness in this country. We now have complete lawlessness where the courts can combine with the police, can combine with the court security, can combine with Oranga Tamariki, and dare I say, with your local MP, the politicians of this country, to conspire to keep covered the fact that children are being taken by Oranga Tamariki, being taken out of the system and most likely being sold for anything from 5 million to 10 million US.
Again, into a bunch of QAnon type stuff. The QAnon influence on Sovsits has... I don't know if it's gotten bigger, but I've noticed it more recently, too. The people who are the allies of Cataspinda and her are really into that stuff. Marcel's into the QAnon stuff. Pretty sure this guy's into some of it, but we'll get to that in a little bit.
Seatbelt patrol. Why did you have a seatbelt on back there? You just forget to put it on?
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm wearing my seatbelt.
You didn't have it on a while ago. I was in the median when you came by and you didn't have it on.
Alright.
You get your license on you?
I mean, I do, but I'm not technically driving.
It's really impressive how you get behind a wheel and move the car and steer it without driving. I don't know how you do that. That's so cool.
You know?
That was his engine. That was the noise of his engine.
I'm traveling. And I don't think not wearing a seatbelt is a crime.
It's illegal.
It's an infraction.
Well, that's kind of like for commercial drivers.
No,
you know?
it's not. You have to wear your seatbelt.
I'm just a man traveling.
Okay. Don't go nowhere.
All right.
Be right back.
The officer hit him with K. K, be right back.
I wonder what he's gonna say. He's probably bringing me a ticket. Fucking stupid printout fucking tickets.
Oh, yeah.
Because he knows my name through the plates.
Curly-haired hooligan.
Oh, comes
Thanks
back.
for
I don't
following.
know, this is the first time I've ever done this shit. Fucked with him.
Bragging about how this is the
Sorry, the original wasn't available.
Yeah, I'll reserve my rights. But that's the thing about North Carolina, they give you those printouts where you don't sign it, they're just like here. And it's not even a contract.
Wow, it's almost like traffic tickets have never been contracts, and you have a misapprehension of what's even happening.
Try, how much was that shit? Like 150 fucking dollars? 180 fucking dollars. Fuck that shit.
Sir,
Yes, sir.
you can be placed on arrest for failing to produce your ID. Alright?
That's not a law either.
Generally, you also get your license suspended if you refuse to present it because you have to
Yes.
No, that's not a law.
if you're driving.
If
If you
I-
are the
I only-
driver of the vehicle, if you are operating the motor vehicle in the United States, you are obligated to present your identification, your insurance, and registration, generally.
You have to produce ID.
Some states also, a lot of states also do inspections, so I don't know if there's like an inspection thing you need. Maybe that too.
If I'm committing a crime.
Black's Law Dictionary request. What do you want me to look up?
I haven't
Yeah,
committed a
produce ID
crime.
so
I'm
you can
just,
stop.
I'm not harming
Stop.
it.
The
I'm
reason
not
for the stop
harming
is you
anyone.
failure to wear a
I'm just
seatbelt.
traveling. I'm not harming anyone, and you're trying to charge me $180.
All right. Well, I'm gonna go back to my car.
I mean, I'll take the
And-
ticket if you want to give me the ticket.
Produce your ID.
Okay. I mean, I'm not consenting to driving. I'm just saying.
You're doing it! You consented when you did it!
But I'll give you my.
Just a random word? Okay. I'll do that. Consortium, conjugal fellowship of husband and wife, and the right of each other to the company, society, cooperation, affection, and aid of the other in every conjugal relation. Loss of consortium consists of several elements encompassing not only material services such as intangibles, as society, guidance, companionship, and sexual relations. Damages for loss of consortium are commonly sought in wrongful death actions, or when spouse has been seriously injured through negligence of another, or by spouse against third person alleging that he or she has caused breakup of marriage. It's a separate cause of action belonging to the spouse of the injured married partner, and though derivative in the sense of being occasioned by injury to the spouse, is a direct injury to the spouse who has lost the consortium. Several states have extended this right of recovery to children of the injured parent.
ID just so I ain't
Appreciate
trying to
that.
be threatened with arrest when I've committed no crime.
Funny how he's willing to
Again, they conflate criminality with illegality. There are things that are illegal that are not necessarily criminal. Traffic infractions, for instance.
officer.
I've done nothing wrong.
Lighting up a cigarette during the stop. Classy.
I don't know if you've ever heard the United States Constitution.
What about the No J Consortium? That went way over my head. No idea.
But that's there to stop
Okay.
people
All
from
right, well,
being
I appreciate it.
harassed, you know?
I appreciate your cooperation. I'll be right back.
Okay. And excuse me, sir, if you give me a ticket, I would like to be able to have 2 copies. I would like to sign it.
Sign it.
His tickets don't require a signature. Now he wants to sign it? Whatever they don't want you to do, he wants to do the opposite. That's interesting. They don't have us sign it. Does that mean I need to sign it? Opposite day.
Sign a copy.
Well, then I don't want to
You don't have
contract
to
with
sign
you
it.
then.
I'll be right
Deep Space Nine. Why? I don't remember that one. Was that who they were gonna trade the self-sealing stem bolts to? I don't remember. Oh yeah, it was. It was the fake company they set up for the self-sealing stem bolts. Fuck yeah.
A few minutes
Oh, no J, Nog, and okay, yeah, okay.
later.
All this over a seatbelt. Which is my word against his, because he has no proof that I wasn't wearing a seatbelt.
If you believe that, then take the ticket and fight it.
Over a seatbelt.
Yeah, wear a goddamn seatbelt. Sorry, this is the thing that actually frustrates me.
This is ridiculous, man.
If you don't wear a seatbelt, look, if seatbelts only were a you thing, I wouldn't even care that much. Oh god, did it F again? Is that everyone? Just want to see. Anyone? Bueller? Help me out. Some people are saying fine, some people are saying struggling. I'm gonna keep going for a little bit. We'll see if it clears up. If not, I'll do a whole internet reset thing and just do a longer stream to make up for all the inconvenience. I apologize, everyone, that this happens.
3 cop cars now. I think. Yeah, 3 of them. Over just me because I'm like, dude, I'm not driving. I mean, who cares about my dude?
Been fine for you the whole time. Okay.
You're
It
gonna.
might be my the multi-stream service then. It might not even be YouTube or Twitch. It might be the back end of the multi-stream service.
Charge me because I'm not protecting myself? Please. This is ridiculous.
Mr. Canuck, here's a citation for the seatbelt. There's a court date up there. It's not mandatory.
So
It can
why
be paid
why
off online
can't
or
I
mailed in.
sign? Why do you just hand someone a contract that they don't
It's
sign?
not a contract, it's a ticket. It's a ticket.
It's not a contract.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's a contract. If I
No, it's not. Not every piece of paper is a contract. People, it says, conjugal, or wait, conga call, Deep Space Nine. Do you think Odo has flesh pockets? Yep, day 2 of giving you money for gross words. Love you, Anna and Bob. Let's not start the flesh pocket thing again.
take that from you, I'm contracting
So
with
you have to take the
I
citation.
would rather not contract with you.
You have to take the citation.
You know, it would save us a lot of time.
What you want to do with
They
it?
usually do have you sign something, but the state they're in, the traffic tickets do not require a signature. Usually the signature in states is to basically, but either way, it's basically just acknowledging, hey, I got this ticket, and this is the court date, and I blah, 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 blah. This state doesn't require that, for whatever reason.
After we do get finished with this stop, it's up to you, but you have to take the citation in your possession. It assures me that you know your court date up here.
What's the law that says I have to take that?
You have to take the citation.
Why do I
It's a
have
summons.
to? I haven't committed any crimes. You do understand
wear
that
your
driving is a commercial term, right?
I hate when they say that, because it's always so condescending and so wrong.
You know, driving is a commercial term.
So
No, it's not. Did you know that every state in the United States issues commercial driver's licenses that are separate from regular driver's licenses? Oh.
Oh, hey, what's your badge number? And you sure? Fucking asshole. $180. $180 fucking dollars.
Yeah, it would have been easier to wear a seatbelt, I bet.
What's the court date?
Probably fucking 2 months from now.
On top of saving $180, you also might not die if you get in an accident, which is nice. Little side benefit of the seatbelt, if you didn't know.
Fucking asshole. Trooper D. Lucido. Number.
Stone Corbell, what's your badge number and whatever? What am I supposed to say for this again? The script gets hard sometimes.
1605. Tyrant ass motherfucker.
He's a
Another
tyrant because he
example.
gave me a ticket for not wearing a seatbelt. Tyranny! Okay, let's look at Chili's friend. This is another friend of his who claims to be a lawyer. I don't know if when he says lawyer, he means he actually has a law degree, or if he means lawyer in the sovereign citizen way. Who knows? Either way, we're gonna watch parts of this, because he thinks that judges are secretly Marxists, which is certainly something.
We're going into a crime scene, guys. And
Oh,
he's
shit.
walking down the
That's scary, Trey.
sidewalk, and he's instructed by an officer that he can go over to where the officers are. So he walks over there, and then the officers point to the tape on the street, and they say, one of the officers says, "Hey, you know, you're inside of a crime. Nothing to do with what I do at my firm. I'm just helping out a friend of mine." But I am Michael Leland. I am a California and Texas personal injury attorney, and the
He's a personal injury attorney, so he definitely knows a ton about criminal law. Different parts of the law.
work that I do here has nothing to do with what I do at my firm. I'm just helping out. A friend of mine got locked up.
I'm sure his firm is super thrilled that he's putting his name behind this absolute shit show of Chili's grift, in my opinion.
Now, at the very first part of the video, you can see I had a lot
What
of
do other sovereign citizens think of Chile and what's happening to him at the moment? They think that it's a travesty of justice and that he's been thrown in jail for bullshit reasons. For instance, Rebel, what is it called? Rebel Studios did a video where he mentioned it recently. I want to say it was this one.
It's not supposed to be this way. Well, as they say, there's a reason for everything. There is a reason why Chili went to jail the way he did. And he found out in a book, and more than likely through letters that he was getting info that tells him how the whole system is to work.
So anyway, most of them are on Chili's side, or at least are sympathetic to him and think he was railroaded, even though I don't think he was.
Technical problems, so please forgive me. I had all these videos queued up, all these things that I wanted to show you about the second arrest. But what I'm going to do is just really quickly go to that second arrest and show you through the GoFund. There it is. Okay. I'm going to get like towards the very end.
Oh, he's trying to raise $30,000, by the way, after already raising $20,000 and another, like, $15,000. Now he has a third GoFundMe for $30,000. I feel bad for asking for this money, which is $1,000, and he's asking for, like, $60,000 or $70,000. Luckily, it doesn't seem to be working at this point. I think his audience has given him pretty much what they're going to give him.
To kind of get you an idea of what happened to Chili in this particular case. Really quick here, let me just share this with you guys. Boom, boom. All right. So next time we won't have these technical glitches, I hope, but we're going to go ahead and play this for you so you get an idea, a flavor of what happened. So you can kind of see in the background there's a little bit, you see the caution tape. So that caution tape was designed to keep people out of the street.
I don't care for this. I didn't want to watch him or care to watch him do that necessarily. The parts that were interesting to me were just when he was talking and opining.
What happened?
But I have empathy and self-awareness. I'm also being honest about what the money is for, because I'm broke as shit and times are hard and rent's coming up. And that's exactly what it is. I think that he claims to use the money for certain things and then uses... No, I can't say that. Never mind. My opinions on Chili's money don't matter. Who cares? But I don't think his fans should be giving him money because he's been given tens of thousands of dollars.
Chili gets the golden handcuffs, they put the torture cuffs on him, they lock him up.
I actually wanted to see what it was up to, because last night he was only up to like oh my god, yeah. Yeah, his first one got like 20,000 pretty quickly. This one stalled, relatively speaking. It hurts to even see it at 1,300 and say that's stalled, but for him it is. Normally he gets tens of thousands of dollars relatively easily from his marks, let's call them.
Because they're alleging that he was basically in a crime scene area, but he wasn't.
Hydrate.
And there was a dispute among the officers at the scene as to where the crime scene actually was, but yet he was still arrested. And so
they were telling him to, like, back up. To be clear, the context for the thing he's talking about is not Chili's first arrest that he is currently in jail for. This is a separate arrest that happened after the first one, but before he was sentenced to jail. He's acting like Chili was just like, whatever, he was just like walking through. No, Chili was instigating, and also someone had just died. Chili was like yelling at people at a crime scene where someone had just fucking died and then got arrested for obstruction. Like, yeah, he keeps doing this. Stop it. Get some help. Peoplord with 500 bits says, oh my god, Odo could keep sand in his flesh pocket when he sips his flesh ractagino with his friends, and Data isn't around and he hates Vic, so he only has flesh friends. Hannah, I promise I'm only being gross because the things you just said, flesh bits. You know, you'd think as a big David Cronenberg fan, I would be better at saying gross things like flesh pocket. Missed hydrate? Here's more, just in case.
There seems to be a mad dash right now.
Chat, if you all want to move to the same city, it'd be really cool, and we could do like a movie club every month, and we'll pick a different movie. Oh my god! Yes, I was just about to mention Existence. I want to watch Existence with all of you.
Now, to silence anybody who supports the First Amendment, to silence these cop watchers, these auditors who go and film at post offices, paint them as domestic violent extremists or whatever it might be. And law enforcement is going along with the program, and I believe they're pretextually using things like Penal Code Section 148 and obstruction,
I understood that reference, Big Dick Energy.
basically to chill people from exercising their First Amendment rights of filming and police officers accountable. And we know that law enforcement has had a history in the past doing questionable things, turning off their.
Why does he have the mic like that? To be clear, we have almost the same exact microphone. Mine is just the newer model of the same one that is. Mine is the updated version, but it's the same one. I used to have the one that he has now. He's talking from it from like the wrong side, so this probably sounds weird to you, right? Compared to normal, because I'm talking from the wrong side. And he is also doing that right now. So if you're wondering why his voice sounds weird, it's probably because he has the microphone the wrong direction. Now, to be clear, for these microphones, you can also change the direction, but I don't think he's done that, because I think he sounds more like this than he sounds like this. I think he's just doesn't know how the microphone works.
Body cams at the right time, or footage mysteriously disappearing from their body cam footage, et cetera, et cetera. So we know that happens quite a bit. And the idea behind the auditors and cop watchers, whether you hate them or whether you love them, is they're testing, sometimes with extreme sort of added.
They're not testing, though. They're just being assholes, and all it does is make cops quicker to not want to deal with people filming them even when they are in the right, which is most of the time, but then these auditor people don't actually have an interest in simply filming. They have an interest in getting in the middle of these situations. Stop it. There are other ways to do this. Back the fuck up. Don't make it about you. Absolutely. Film the police. Don't obstruct while you're doing it, which is what Chili does.
Attitude, these law enforcement officers, to hold them accountable, to hold public officials accountable. So that's kind of what's going on. And now, when these officers get out of line, we're finding now that the courts are going to uphold the officer. Now, in Chili's last case, we saw that the footage that Chili actually used in that arrest was never even entered into the record. So
the cops' footage it was footage of the same exact thing happening.
They
did watch the thing happen.
Even see that even if you have the best intentions and you're the best auditor in the world, if you're not synced in with your legal counsel, things are going to get missed. And so I really encourage all of you to learn the law and study the law a little bit before you go out there, and make sure that you already have a lawyer lined up.
We can't all be constitutional law scholars.
Because what you're engaged in is an activity that's highly likely to get you arrested, even if you're totally in the right. Now, a lot of people disagree with the way that Chili sort of confronts the officers, but see, I don't, because I think that you have to be confrontational. These are public servants.
You don't, though. You have a right to, do a bunch of things, but if you're getting in the middle of a crime scene or a traffic stop or a thing happening, and instead of just filming it, you're actively getting involved and yelling at the cops while they're trying to do something, what do you think's gonna happen?
And we need to test them, because what if it's a family member of yours who has a mental condition, or somebody maybe drank a little too much? If you have these guys trained like Rottweilers, dropping people on their heads as soon as someone pops off to them or doesn't make them feel like they're in charge, that's a problem. That's a real problem. And so I applaud people like Chili who give a little bit of attitude and put these law enforcement, police officers, public officials, hold them to account.
The really painful thing about Chili is he's not filming any miscarriage of justice or the like. He's recording ordinary traffic stops and basic arrests that are quiet and routine, and the only drama is him. Yes, he instigates drama. He acts like he's the press, but he's not. He's trying to go out and make stories.
Make them sort of understand that they're the servants and not the master. So that's what I have to say about that. Let me just look in the sidebar here and see what's going on, you guys. Yeah. So now, also keep in mind, law enforcement officers have the right to lie to people. So the Supreme Court has upheld law enforcement officers lying to people. It's very common. It's totally normal. But if you lie to an FBI agent, you can go to jail, I think, for up to 3 years. Now, lying to street cops, you can go to jail too, but it's a little bit different. You have to lie about something I think that's more material, but each law enforcement agency and municipality is going to be a little bit different. Now, I'm just looking in the sidebar here because I want to be able to answer any questions. Man, what a bummer! I had this thing all set up to have all the videos playing, and here I am fumbling around at the beginning. But okay, so the whole point of this exercise, guys, is to tell you about my experience with Chili in jail. So I hung out with him. You go up there. I'm not going to tell you too many details, but you go up into a room where you meet with your client. And since I represent Chili in other matters, again, I'm licensed in California and Texas. I'm not helping
What does he have going on in California and Texas? You're a personal injury attorney.
him in his Nevada case. I'm just meeting with him because he doesn't have anybody else that can. And I've got stuff that I'm doing with him. So it's a good thing. And I said, look, if you want, I can share to Team DLZ what's going on as long as it's not confidential stuff. And so what he wanted me to share with y'all is he's very, very big now on the idea of segregating prisons. And I don't mean the old segregation where you're separating black people from white people and all that kind of stuff. I'm talking.
That's how you know it's a good idea and great branding when the first thing you have to do is try and separate the concept from pre-civil rights segregation. Alton Undying says, I bet he has lawsuits about torture cuffs. Probably. You're probably right.
Talking about violent offenders being separated from nonviolent, and then the crazy people who talk to themselves, who are kind of nutty. They should not all be into the torture where everyone just makes sure. That's
wow,
totally
he's worse at streaming than me.
And by the way, we have over, I think, 500,000 nonviolent offenders in our prison system.
I agree that's a problem. That is a problem. We have the highest incarceration rate in the world, and it's bullshit. Chili isn't doing anything to help it. He's an attention whore, taking time, attention, and money away from real issues to self-aggrandize himself and use this stuff as some sort of prop to make himself feel like a civil rights leader. People Lord, thanks for 100 bits.
And so one of the things that Chili is really big on is trying to find a way to rehabilitate people who may have done things that go against the policy.
Reminder that Chili thinks that you can rehabilitate domestic abusers by just being like, hey, that's not good, don't hit your wife.
Or maybe are bad.
And also a reminder that Chili has had allegations in protection orders that were granted that said he had threatened his ex-girlfriend with a Colombian hitman and that he was going to do things to her and her boyfriend.
Bad for the public, but yet are nonviolent. And so one of the suggestions that he had and that we're going to explore are a form of a halfway house, for lack of a better word, where nonviolent offenders can go and there's cameras everywhere, there's chain link, and it's like a voluntary thing. So you're not.
The thing that gets me about Chili, here's what gets me. Chili talks a good game sometimes. He'll say and point out accurate problems with the justice system. But then what he actually does is go out and just yell at cops and ask for money. What is he ever doing to actively try and change laws? His channel's called Delete Laws. You'd think he'd be trying to actually, and he says all the time, we're going to get rid of Terry versus Ohio. We're going to overturn that. What have you done to do that, Chili? Because so far, all you've done is grift, ask for money, do a bunch of YouTube videos mostly focusing on you and trying to make you look good, and that's it, and you got arrested. You've not done anything to try and actually advocate for some sort of grassroots movement to change any sort of system. This is entirely a set dressing to the Chili DeCastro show, and it's so fucking sad. Peeplord says, sorry, app crash. Do you think Chili tried out for Power Rangers because it's like the Control situation where he almost completely safe and sees himself as a hero? No, I think that's going far. I think he just needed a job, and he was qualified, more or less. I think he had probably, this is just speculation, I think there were personality conflicts, probably. Chili was qualified. That season's acting was terrible. And he's physical enough that he could have done the American part of the Power Rangers show fine. We make fun of it, but again, that season he was supposed to be on, Wild Force, terrible acting. You should have seen the Red Ranger. Oh my god, that season's Red Ranger is a bad actor. He also stabbed someone with a samurai sword in real life. I think it was his roommate. But that's a different story.
You're not locked up with a bunch of crazy people trying to kill you. And it gives you the ability to still work. Remember, when somebody gets arrested and they get thrown in jail, it's a real problem.
I want to see when he gets to talk about communists and how much he hates trans people. I'm gonna pee first, though. So while I pee, let's have Chair tell you about, the 1960 classic that helped inspire POV shots from slashers, Peeping Tom. Be right back. How insightful. Chair should write a book on film. They're so good.
You could lose everything.
Peeping Tom, why are you named Tom? He was a big fan of MySpace.
You could absolutely lose. You could lose.
You thought he removed his roommate's head? I think it was with a samurai sword.
Your job. You could lose your wife. You could lose your kids. I mean, not bringing in income when you're living hand to mouth.
Does Chair have a YouTube channel? No. Chair's channel would be 2NSFW for YouTube or Twitch.
Is devastating to a lot of people. So a nonviolent offender, rather than locking them up and just making them go crazy, give them an opportunity to sure be segregated from society at large, but still be able to support their families and serve their time without being locked up with crazy killers and psychopaths. Many people believe that Twin Towers in Los Angeles is more dangerous than state prison, and that's a county jail
Get
for
to
your
your
rights.
conspiracy theories.
So that being said, barely able to defend himself. Those are all very commendable things. Start it from the beginning. Well, I appreciate that, Jay, more than anything, in my opinion. And he'll drive around and look for the police engaged in law enforcement.
Kagami says, I agree with you, Hannah, that a lot of conspiracy theorists, especially sovereign citizens and anti-vaxxers, aren't mentally ill. It's simply selfishness and entitlement as an ideology. There are anti-vax parents who vaccinate themselves but refuse for their kids, and a lot of sovereign citizens run from court rather than fight and prove their stuff. On some level, a lot of them know they're full of it, but the world has to conform to them because they're the main character. I read an interesting thing that I don't necessarily fully agree with, but I find interesting as a model for understanding why certain thoughts and beliefs don't spur action that would be rational given those beliefs. So, for instance, like, if you really believed in, for instance, the Pizzagate theory, there was one guy who did, and he went to the pizza place with a gun and tried to quote-unquote free the children that he thought were trapped in the basement of this pizza place. Now that's odd, but honestly, when you think about it, considering the thousands and thousands and thousands of people who believe in Pizzagate, it's kind of surprising there was only one that did that, right? If you truly believed that there was a pizza place somewhere that you could get to, and there were children being held there, and were being horribly tortured, and other things I can't say for TOS reasons, wouldn't almost everyone who really believed that go and do something? But almost no one does. One guy did. Why is that? And the person who wrote this article was positing that there's different kinds of belief. Belief isn't one thing. It's a category we put a lot of different things under. There are beliefs that are for psychological needs. There are beliefs that are based on actual evidence. And then there are beliefs that aren't things you necessarily believe in a material sense, but for their social utility. Basically, shibboleths and things like that. On some level, you believe them, you accept them, but you don't act as if you do, because on some level, you don't think it's true as much as you recognize the necessity or some sort of social utility for acting as though you believe it in some way, or at least claiming you do. Again, it's not like a perfect model or anything, but it is an interesting way to think about certain beliefs and why someone believes them as opposed to just what they believe. What purpose is that belief serving?
Activities, and then he'll go and he'll journal it, he'll film it. And usually he won't say a word, but the police will approach him and start asking him for his press card and his credentials. And he basically tells them to F off. It's none of their effing business. And the police obviously don't like it. But again, that's the purposes of testing the government. That's why we have the First Amendment. And so that's what he does. And you may not like the way he does it. Some of you love the way he does it. I would do it differently, of course, than he would.
Italian Shakespeare with a link says, "I'm not sorry."
Believe it.
God damn it.
You do it differently than me. But what he's doing is something very brave that nobody else does. And I ask you to have an open mind and try to understand that he's trying to hold public officials to account. And when they lose their temper and get crazy, the crap out of people, well, that person they're beating on might not be Chili next time. It might be your son or your daughter. So I want you to watch this because I've seen and I've handled a fair share of police brutality. So I just want to just comment a little bit on this. So
you need to go. Are you guys gonna? Gotta get to the part where he talks about communists. Give me a sec. Let me search the transcript for you. Control F Marx. There we go.
When I saw Chili, it really inspired me a lot. Let me take a look. Give me a bunch of ones if you're happy with that $100. Give me a bunch of twos if you think it should be higher. Now I'm going to put in the GoFundMe link really quick. Again, in the sidebar. Now I also want you to take a look at the description of this video. If it's not already in there, after the video is over, I'll make sure to put the GoFundMe link in the description.
It's right after this. I just think it's funny how desperately he's trying to shill the 30,000 GoFundMe.
So it looks like we got about 260 people in the chat, guys. Yeah, go Mike Leland. Thanks, guys. I appreciate that. Let's get it higher. Let's try to.
We had 26 people watching. That's actually kind of sad.
Is there anybody here who, can dig a little deep and throw a couple $100 in here so I can at least go to Chili when I see him?
That hurts
say,
me
look,
physically.
we raised 300 in an hour. Our goal is 30,000. And then also
raving. I'm sorry.
Like Derek.
If you come back, I mean, you're not need to, but if you want to come back in like 15 minutes, we'll be done with this guy.
That's Derek Pettis, the law of the land is the true law. Marbury versus Madison. Well, so Marbury versus Madison, I think that's the case that says that all laws related to the Constitution are null and void. But one thing that I learned, having done the whole sovereign citizen thing, is that might be true, but who decides who the arbiter is of what's constitutional or not?
Arbiter? Arbiter.
Generally going to be a court.
Cousin of the rock biter.
And remember that judges, as a general rule, are going to be appointed by very political individuals and without a religious background of right and wrong, feeling like...
he thinks that you need to be religious in order to have morality. He thinks that judges that aren't Christian have no backing for morality and therefore shouldn't be allowed to be judges.
The punishment of sin is death, which is how our original system was set up. The judges that are being appointed now, a lot of them are atheists and very far, like almost Marxist communists. And so Marxism and communism is diametrically opposed to natural law. So our whole country, our whole Bill of Rights, the whole basis of this beautiful Republican form of government we have in the United States, lowercase u, was based upon the concept of individual rights and liberty that John Locke was a proponent of. And so Thomas Jefferson and many of our other founders were big time.
Thomas Jefferson was huge on freedom,
John Locke,
except for his slaves and the kids he had after abusing the slaves.
and Adam Smith, of course, and these other the Scottish law free thinkers who wanted to break off from the king. Those were the people who inspired the creation of this country, and what they have in common. And of course, our lefties will say, "Well, we're deists." So, and that might be true. Deists believe in God. They just believe that God created us and left. But so the idea was, even in our founding documents, that our rights come from a creator with uppercase C, which signifies.
Sir, I understand as a rhetorical tool why that's handy to try and bootstrap yourself into not having to explain why people should have rights. But, like, I don't know if that's literally true, or even should need to be in order for people to have morality, but that's just me as a dirty lefty.
Deity. And so if your rights come from a creator, that means they didn't come from the government. And that's what progressives hate, because they want that control, because they believe all power comes through the barrel of a gun, because that's what Mao believed, and that's their hero. And so because of that, we have
Did you say Mao
a
was our
situation
hero?
where if you elect a judge or you elect a lawyer, appoint a lawyer who doesn't care about the Constitution, doesn't care about the Bill of Rights, doesn't feel bound by honor that our rights come from a creator, to them that's just all nonsense. And so to them it's simple, just flood the country with illegals, make sure you get all the judges you want in power, and watch the Constitution disappear. And of course we know with
I don't understand. That was a non sequitur to include immigration. What did immigration have to do with any of this weird chud diatribe? You just had to throw it in.
The equity and inclusion thing that BlackRock is forcing on all the companies, and we know that BlackRock basically owns news media and the press. We know that they have a lot of power.
Oh shit! Spouse, thank you for another $40 towards the costume month. Says Hannah, if you swap your computer and still get the same issues, most likely not hardware, might be your internet or OS. Yeah. I think we need to talk to the internet people too, and our Wi-Fi router gets really warm, which, I mean, it's gonna get warm, but like it gets really warm, so we might need a new one.
Making sure what judges get on the bench as a result.
Fennikigami says Marxists are better Christians than a lot of Christians. Marxists hate the rich, think religion and government should be separate, and money has no place in religion. They want to help the poor, the sick, create a forgiving society. Evangelicals, for example, mostly want or believe any of those things that and creating a forgiving society. Evangelicals, for example, most want or believe any of those things that Jesus believed. You know.
We see the degradation of our society happening in real time at rapid rocket speed. And so the only people that are out there right now who are actively exposing this, and there's very few, there's Press with Rancor, there's Chile.
I just don't understand how he thinks Chile is doing anything but looking like an ass.
Man, okay, so let's take a look. So, okay, here's what we got so far, guys. So we got more. We got, it looks like 20 minutes ago, Charles Phillips donated $100. Bruce R donated 20. Another anonymous person donated 20. Oh my God, Charles Phillips just donated $500. Are you freaking kidding me? It's free.
The people who throw their money at PP and Chile.
Legal advice for California and Texas for helping out my friend Chile. I'm not the government. I don't have a duty to protect your speech. More upbeat and positive than I would have been is things in less than.
He's very anti-trans too. Surprise! I'm not going to go into it, but he has a whole thing where he gets into like not mutilating children as a dog whistle for his general anti-trans stances. So anyway, that's what he's up to. Hey, how's Chili been? Let's hear about his board game.
Hello, Team DLZ. This is Chili DeCastro. Today is April 25th, 2024. I am an innocent man incarcerated at Clark County Detention Center. I am in the dungeon. The video of my wrongful arrest, the video of my wrongful persecution has been seen by millions of people. I am innocent and I am in jail.
How many views does his arrest video have? I find it hard to believe. By the way, this is just my opinion, but I find it odd that Chili's channel has over 500,000 subscribers, but his videos get like 6,000, 10,000 views, 12,000, there's a 12,000, 7,000, 6,000, 9,000, 11,000. The interactions don't seem to be that high. So, I'm not saying it, but like, let's say hypothetically, is Chili buying bots? Just seems weird. Just seems weird. Let's actually see. Maybe he did just have a crazy viral video years ago and just got a bunch of subs and they're all dead subs. That happens. Let's see. His highest one is 730,000 views, so that might be the one that pulled a bunch of people in. They didn't stick around.
So thank you for taking the time to listen to this. I appreciate it. I've been in here now for almost 6 weeks. It's been a very difficult journey for me. I'm a people person. I love people. I'm an empath. I care about people.
He's an empath, a thing that is definitely very real.
And so what I've done with my time
him and Shane Dawson being empathetic.
here was I mentioned about 2 years ago that I was going to create
Chili, did you know having empathy is the bare minimum? Everyone has, most people have some sort of empathy. That's typical.
Called Constitutional.
Just had popular YouTube shorts. Gotcha. Yeah, those don't translate to video views very often.
Law Scholar. Well, guess what? I have created a board game called Constitutional Law Scholar.
I am telling you right now, if Chili releases a game called Constitutional Law Scholar, I will buy it and we will play it on stream.
I have a little bit of the blank.
I don't think he'll follow through, but if he does, we will get it.
To fill in, but I'm going to have the entire game on paper so I can translate it into cards, much like the Trivial Pursuit game of the 1980s and the 90s, that box of cards you got. But this is U.S.
Are you aware that Trivial Pursuit still exists?
Constitutional Law Scholar.
Because it does. You can go get Trivial Pursuit.
Board game, and it's played differently than just on a board. It's completely different than that. But I'm not going to go into too many details, but it is super exciting. If you ever wanted to learn the United States history or constitutional history, this thing that I've created is so interactive. It is so cool. If you're just a person who wants to learn history or play a history game, or if you're homeschooling your kids and you want to teach them history, if you are...
It's literally just cards, isn't it? It's just going to be cards with questions. Probably some of them with wrong answers, because he has no idea what he's talking about.
Cool, and you have a classroom full of students who want to learn history. If you're a bunch of 40-year-old dudes sitting around who want to learn history, I've created the most interactive, badass game you have ever seen.
How do you have the most interactive game? Sorry, I muted it.
I have a lot more knowledge because someone is sending me in the books that I requested. And so let me take that time just to take a segue here and say thank you. I've gotten your letters. I've gotten so many letters from John, from Joe.
Maybe his redemption arc will be him researching for this game and realizing he's wrong. Oh, he's not going to do research. He's going to write this shit from what he considers his memory. 100%.
From Eric, from, oh man, I don't want to miss anybody's names, but I always do people's names. And then you guys sent me books as well, but I don't know who the book comes from because it has to come from a publisher here in Vegas or it has to come from Amazon directly. You can't just send me a book from your house. So I don't know who sent me this book called Probable Cause, but I want to say thank you for that book. And I want to say thank you for you guys sending me tons of letters. I mean, I really appreciate it. You guys can put the address up there in the edit, but thank you so much for sending me letters. It brings my spirit up so much. However, I'm just so excited about this new game that has really sprang to life as I've been locked up in here because I have to spend my time doing something. I'm always a productive person. And so I spent my time creating this board game for you. And when I get out of here, I will have it completely done within 30 days. I'm going to make 1,000 copies and I'll have them out within 30 days from the time I'm...
That's in... No, you are not going to manufacture 1,000 copies of your board game that you've not... What? He's not going to get that done in a month from getting released from prison. It would take longer than that to get a custom-made 1,000 copies of this game. You can go to a printer, you're going to have to get all the designs done, You're going to have to get all the questions ready and actually graphically design them. You're going to have to find a printer that, like, you can negotiate the price with and find the right materials and stuff. I just... GamerG says, Chili says, I love people. I love them so much. Gives off the same energy of Trump saying to the crowd at his rally, I love you all so much. I could kiss all of you. I could kiss the women and the men.
Released from this dungeon. And then other thing that I kind of wanted to briefly talk about here is Stockholm Syndrome. I want you guys to...
Pretty sure Stockholm Syndrome's been debunked, for the record. Pretty sure that's been found to not be a thing. Akintar, thank you so much for the raid. Welcome, raiders. We're just looking at Chili DeCastro grifting from jail. How goes? Go check out Akintar.
Research, Google, look up Stockholm Syndrome, because I am...
Okay, let's do that. Here's the criticism. Robbins and Anthony in 1982, who had historically studied a condition similar to Stockholm Syndrome known as destructive cult disorder, observed in their 1982 study that in the 70s were rich with apprehension surrounding the potential risks of brainwashing. They assert media attention to brainwashing during the time resulted in the fluid reception of Stockholm Syndrome as a psychological condition. FBI Law Enforcement Bulletin from 1999. A 1998 that's weird. Report by the FBI containing more than 1,200 hostages incidents found that only 8% of kidnapping victims showed signs of Stockholm Syndrome, when victims who showed only negative feelings towards law enforcement personnel are excluded. Maybe some people just don't like cops. The percentage decreased to 5%. A survey of 600 police agencies in 1989 performed the... So basically, they were saying, man... the victims don't necessarily like cops. They must love the person who captured them. Interesting. A survey of 600 police agencies in 1989 performed by the FBI and University of Vermont found not a single case when emotional involvement between the victim and kidnapper interfered with or jeopardized an assault. In short, the database provides empirical support that Stockholm Syndrome remains a rare occurrence. The sensational nature of dramatic cases causes the public to perceive the phenomenon as the rule rather than the exception. The bulletin concludes that although depicted in fiction and movies and often referred to by the news media, the phenomenon actually only occurs rarely. Therefore, a crisis negotiator should place the Stockholm Syndrome in proper perspective. Here's one from 2008. Oh, Screaming at the Radio says, help me understand, he wants to write a game where you have to give only wrong answers? No, I just think his answers will be wrong. It'll be the card says moops, because he's writing the cards. A research group led by, sorry if I mispronounce this, Namyek, has found that although there is a vast media coverage of Stockholm Syndrome, there has not been much research into the phenomenon. What little research has been done is often contradictory and does not always agree on what Stockholm Syndrome is. The term has grown beyond kidnappings to all definitions of abuse. It's stated that there's no clear definition of symptoms to diagnose the syndrome. The DSM-5 in 2013. The DSM-5 is widely used as the classification system for psychological disorders by the American Psychiatric Association. Stockholm Syndrome has not historically appeared in the manual. As many believe, it falls under trauma bonding or post-traumatic stress disorder, and there's no consensus about the correct classification. In addition, there's no extensive body of research or consensus to help solve the argument. Although before the 5th edition was released, Stockholm Syndrome was under consideration to be included under disorders of extreme stress not otherwise specified. 2015. At Dignity Conference 2015, Dr. Alan Wade presented The Myth of Stockholm Syndrome and other concepts invented to discredit women victims of violence. After interviewing Kristen Enmark in this presentation, he posits that Stockholm Syndrome and related ideas such as trauma bonding, learned helplessness, battered women syndrome, internalized depression, and identification with aggressor-oppressor shifts the focus away from actual events and context to invented pathologies in the minds of victims, particularly women. Stockholm syndrome can be seen as one of many concepts used to silence individuals who, as victims, speak publicly about negative social, i.e., institutional responses. So again, saying, if a victim comes out and criticizes the cops or the judiciary, they must have Stockholm syndrome. Interesting. Jess Hill, 2019. In her 2019 treatise on domestic violence, See What You Made Me Do, Australian journalist Jess Hill described the syndrome as a dubious pathology with no diagnostic criteria, and stated that it is riddled with misogyny and founded on a lie. She also noted that a 2008 literature review revealed most diagnoses of Stockholm syndrome are made by the media, not by psychologists or psychiatrists. In particular, Hill's analysis revealed that Stockholm authorities, under direct guidance from Bejerot, responded to the robbery in a way that put the hostages at greater risk from the police than from their captors. As well, she observed that not only was Bejerot's diagnosis of Enmark made without ever having spoken to her, it was in direct response to her public criticism of his actions during the siege. So there you go.
Living it. I'm absolutely living it. I don't want to go into too much detail because I want you guys to research Stockholm Syndrome yourself, but because I'm such an empathic person, because I feel the plight and the pain of others, I put myself in other people's shoes to see how they see it, I'm definitely going through Stockholm Syndrome. I absolutely can't stand it. I hate it, but that's what's happening to me right now. I've also decided to change my diet while I'm in here because the food is absolute slop. It is horrifically bad. It is like the lowest grade of food ever. And so
that I agree with. Prison food is absolute dog shit. Jail food is dog shit. And it being outsourced to third parties for the lowest bid is awful and disgusting. And I don't think that should be a thing.
Now I'm doing,
regardless of how much chili is a piece of shit. I don't think anyone in jail deserves the food that they serve.
Eating the vegetables on the tray. That's all I'm doing. A couple of you guys
This is a joke, right? Unfortunately, no.
Packages. There's a website called iCare Gifts. Thank you so much. I'm trading the food that you sent me through iCare Gifts.
Remembering what you said about Glee, may I present... Oh no. What is this? I can't play this because I'm on YouTube. It's called Stockholm Syndrome, though, and I'm sure it's funny.
Other people for bottled water. Because I can only order 3 bottles of water at a time.
No, he's claiming that people who don't agree with him have Stockholm Syndrome for the police.
So that's what I'm doing with that. And, you know, I'm going through some stuff through the legal process here. There's some legal things going on. I will let Michael Eline tell you what's going on tonight on the channel when he goes live. I don't want to get into it too much because I don't want to give it too much credence, too much attention. You know, there's always people in the world who are going to be, you know, you guys can see it. There's people who celebrate me being in jail, even though I've committed no crime. I've hurt nobody. No.
He did commit a crime. He committed and was charged with and convicted of a misdemeanor.
Restitution is due. No property is damaged. Nobody is hurt. Nobody's bleeding in the street. There's no babe weeping. There's no one crying they've been stolen money from.
I forgot every crime requires a child or baby to cry.
I'm an innocent person in jail, but there's still people who celebrate that I'm in jail, which is just...
To be clear, I don't celebrate that he's in jail. I'm just not surprised. What did he think was going to happen?
That's just, you know, but that's not going to be me. I'm not that kind of person. I'm not going to stop being a loving, caring, giving person. I'm going to continue to be who I am. And the best gift that I could have done for the world is created this game, U.S. Constitutional Law Scholar. When I go away and I'm on a graveyard somewhere and there's a headstone, they'll say, this man created U.S. Constitutional Law Scholar, the game. Because I...
They charge him by the letter at the Tombstone Factory? I don't know. I don't feel like that rolls off the tongue.
I think this is going to be one of my greatest contributions to society that I've ever done. Because it is the most interactive, fun way to learn history that you'll ever see in your entire life.
Have his delusions of grandeur gotten worse since jail? I feel like he just has nothing to do, so all he can do is, like, focus on fantasies that he's constructed for himself.
You will never play a game that's more fun and more interactive that you can play with 7-year-old kids or 70-year-old men. It doesn't matter. I have been sitting here for a month and a half, and most of the time I'm locked down to a bed with a desk at it, and I just have my pen, my paper, and my brain. And I'm fortunate that I have a near photographic memory because I memorize
Near photographic.
so many cases and so much of history and amendments and states and all these things, and I've been able to put it together in the most incredible way you've ever seen. It didn't take long, to be honest with you. I've had the concept in my head for a long time, but I hadn't just sat down and said, okay, what are the nuts and bolts of this, and how does this work? How do you learn history by playing a game, and it's fun? How do I do that? And how do I make
I
it
have
so
a feeling
it's
that
not
Chili's understanding of pedagogy probably isn't the most academically oriented, so I don't know if he's qualified to discuss good ways to teach children.
hard for people? Because that was a big one. How do I make a game
Ultra Undying says, unfortunately, I am amazing.
where if I want you to know the 1883 case of Pace versus Alabama, if I want you to know that case, how do I present it to
See, that's not good. Chili quotes the wrong case law for his stuff all the time, so he's gonna write these wrong because he's gonna claim that certain cases justify certain actions when they don't.
you in a way that you can learn Pace versus Alabama, and at the same time, it's interactive and it's fun. And I figured that out. And so I'm giving you my word, within 30 days of me being, well, I gotta live through this first. There's lots of people who leave this dungeon feet first. So I have to live through this first.
Chili, the vast majority of the people at the jail you're at do not die. Well, everyone dies eventually. They don't die in the jail because of anything that has happened to them. Most just do their sentences. Most do not die. You're not going to die in jail, Chili. It's a 6-month sentence you've already done like 2 months of.
Very real, and it's very scary. But optimistically, if I can have some optimism here for a moment, someone put a ray of sunshine on my face, please, because I have not seen the sun since March 17th, 2024. Not one
He hasn't seen the sun?
beam of sunlight has hit my face since that day. So
Didn't he literally say there was an outside area in one of his earlier videos that they got to go out in, like, the yard? Like, I know it's a jail, not a prison, but I thought he had said that there was an outdoor area. Maybe I just don't remember correctly, but...
It really makes it, I've only been here a month and a week. Regardless, I've created
Can't wish harm on
something that
people.
I think is
It's
gonna
Twitch
stand the
TOS.
test of time.
Sorry.
Because Trivial Pursuit was created, I think, in the late
I know you're just joking around, but I gotta enforce the Twitch rules, sorry.
80s. And that game is obviously dated. Nothing against that.
Please
I love
don't be
playing
mad at me.
that game, but they had current affairs and they had science. Some of the science now has been debunked, and some of those current affairs are they're just no longer relevant to our society. But U.S. constitutional law scholar, this game I created, it'll be relevant for the rest of my life and
My
the rest
shoulders
of
are
yours,
cold.
because history is not going to be changing. Remember, there was
H-Baird says, I haven't seen the sun since March 17th. As someone who has had to travel to Sweden in December for work, I have no sympathy.
the bastard.
You're fine, Rainey. I feel like I should apologize because I get it. It's fine. I don't have any moral issue with it. I just have to enforce Twitch rules because that's part of the TOS of me having a channel, if that makes sense.
Version of
So I want to be clear. I don't think you did anything wrong. I just have to moderate as per Twitch's rules.
history created by a guy named William Archibald Dunnan, who partnered with the Sisters of the Confederacy to write a whitewashed version of history. And I'm sorry that that's true, but it is. This is the unedited version of history where you truly learn. I'm talking the learning factor in this
Chili's A People's History of the United States.
is 100 times.
The
It
board
is
game.
10x, 10x, 10x. And to me, I feel like I've been able to take advantage of this horrific process I'm being put through, and I've been able to take my time and my brain and my ability and my knowledge and create a product that you guys will be able to have and play with. And I'm super stoked about it, you know? Look, obviously there's nonsense going on in the world.
I'm literally wearing a cold shoulder top. I know. I was making a joke. I actually am kind of chilly, though.
I have to deal with
Not as chilly as delete laws, of course, but...
legally that I shouldn't have to deal with. but I have to deal with them. And so I think we're creating another GoFundMe because I have to deal with this, and it's real. And so I don't want to give it too much credence, and I don't want to...
Or instead of giving the grifter chili money, you can always donate towards the costume month, where I'll be wearing a costume for 30 days straight on stream. I just gotta point that out every once in a while.
Give it too much...
Don't hate the player, hate the game.
Credit, and I don't want to sit and talk about it. And Michael Eline, I don't want you to sit and harp on this either. I want you to talk mostly about my upcoming case on May 1st, which is another obstruction charge in Las Vegas. Focus just on that, Mr. Eline. And let me say thank you to Michael Eline. He came and saw me again yesterday. And that guy he's a warrior for freedom, for liberty. If you guys have a case where someone got hit by a car or a car accident or any kind of
He's a personal injury attorney. How is that about your civil rights? It's personal injury law. That has nothing to do with your civil rights. What? I have to pee. I'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. In the meantime, Chair will tell you about... Lake Placid. I got this. I can untangle things. I can do my job. We did it.
Case like that, hit up Michael because he...
Boomer's Art Attack, thanks for 19 months, says, why does he keep saying it's learning history? The Constitution is a living document that changes. How can he be so wrong about everything? Because he's overconfident.
Is doing well for me as a person. He's been a saint. He has been helping me. So, and to my team, there are people on my team. I'm not going to say their names. My friend in Cali, my friend in Pennsylvania, my friend in San Diego. There are people who have just helped me so much. My friend in Texas, my friend in New Jersey, my friend overseas. I have so many people who have helped me, and I just want to say thank you because I'm taking most advantage.
I'm kind of wondering if he's going to get mad since, like, his current GoFundMe isn't doing as well as the previous ones. If he's going to start to get mad at his audience, which would, like, that's fucked up, but it would also kind of be funny to watch in, like, a third-party train wreck sort of thing.
As I can of this time to be creative and to be productive. And for the letters you guys have sent me, every day I get letters. I get 3 to 6 letters every single day. And don't stop writing. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. You can send me to Jose de Castro 1669561 CCDC, and then that's going to be P.O. Box 43059, Las Vegas, Nevada 89116. So thank you for sending me letters. They actually bring my spirit up and my soul up. I didn't think that just getting a letter with a few hand-script words on there. Some people just send me a letter and they say, hey, Chili, we love you, man, and we're thinking about you, and this is wrong, what's happened to you, and we don't stop. And that's the whole letter. Dude, thank you for sending that. Joe, I got your letter. John, I got your letter. I'm not going to remember everybody's name, especially when I'm just rattling for the daily update for April 25th. But I do want to say thank you for sending me letters. I really super.
Yeah, it was obstruction because Chili's a grifter who goes around and basically gets in verbal fights with cops constantly in order to get views. As people on this channel know, I want police reform. I think the system needs to change, and the way that we deal with issues shouldn't just result in calling the cops all the time, especially with mental health related issues. You know, I'm a leftist. You get it. Anyway, Chili shrouds himself in these issues to try and self-aggrandize, despite him being a chud and having chud friends and being a very strange weirdo. He doesn't really seem to believe these things as far as I'm concerned, or he believes them only through the lens of his own benefit. He does not see these as social goods, no matter how much he says it. He's constantly talking like through his teeth. Not literally, of course, I mean this metaphorically. I don't know how to explain it.
Super appreciate it. My friend Alan, my friend David, my friend V, there's people, and you guys have put money on my books, and you put money on my phone, so I can always go to commissary and order something, and not everybody has that opportunity. There's people in here who don't have anything at all. They have nobody putting any money on their books, and you guys are actively doing that for me consistently, and I just want to, from the bottom of my heart, say thank you to you guys who have done this. And of course, I'm going to make some constitutional law scholar games available for people who are super low income. Because the game itself...
Don't worry, low-income people. He'll give you a free board game. Woo!
It'll cost money to get it, but I will make some versions available. The exact same version as the one that's regular. And I'll make it available for low-income people so that you guys can use the game as well.
It is funny that he doesn't say give it to you. He says make it available, which implies to me he's not going to give it to you for free. Just, like, cheaper.
And that's all I can do is just keep doing what I do. And listen, I'm not walking around in here like, skateboarding through here and be like, yeah, this is great. When I talk to you guys on the phone and I give a daily update, I've got to pull my spirit up. I got to pull my attitude up. I got to pull my head up and say, you know what? I'm addressing the people, and these are the people who love me and support me and who are on Team DLC. And so I pull up my spirit and I say, you show them that you can't be broken. You guys saw me in court. That was after I was in the hole for 5 days.
There is no evidence he's in the hole. He keeps saying the hole, which typically means solitary. To my understanding, Chili is not in solitary confinement. He keeps obfuscating by using these words in doublespeak. When he says the hole, he does not necessarily mean he's in solitary. He has talked about his roommates and the people he has bunkmates with. That is not solitary. He might just not be with the general population because he keeps instigating with people, but to my knowledge, he is not in solitary.
I told one of the guards last night, this is part of the Stockholm syndrome I was telling you about.
Solitary confinement, I know you're joking, H-Beard, but solitary confinement is legitimately a torture and considered so internationally and for good reason. Without human interaction, and I'm an introvert, I get it, you need to recharge, but having no human interaction for long periods of time legit drives you crazy. It is considered a torture. So I know you're joking, but I do want to be clear. No one deserves solitary confinement, even Chili. I just don't think he's telling the truth. Because I don't think he knows what these things even are. He just uses words irresponsibly. Algid Undying says, before the term was ruined by the right, I would say he was virtue signaling.
Conversation last night, and I said, I'm going to end this 23-hour day lockdown. Do you know that I don't remember my hearing? When I was brought before Judge Zimmerman for the second time for my appeal bond, I don't remember any of it, not a single word of it, because I had been put in 23-hour day lockdown. When they pulled me out of that lockdown after being in there for 5 days, I think I was crying before I even got halfway down the hallway, and I didn't even know why I was crying. I just knew I was scared.
We saw him that day. This is a picture from that day. He did not look like he had been crying. He was not crying anywhere visibly. He made this face. Reminder that Chili is an actor. A bad one.
And I was tired of being locked in this tiny little room. And I don't remember any of it. My brain cells over that 5 days had shrunk. They don't give you a pencil. They don't give you a book. Nothing. You just sit in this tiny, tiny cell. And then once in a while they threw a cellmate.
Reminder that recently Chili bragged about getting through Atlas Shrugged, a 1,000-page book, and how arduous it was for him. But he didn't get books. But he also read Atlas Shrugged. But he didn't get books.
There, sometimes that cellmate makes it worse for you. It makes it a lot worse. So I was telling this guard last night, you guys have given me a new part of my mission, which is to end the 23-hour-a-day lockdown.
It's true. The lack of probiotics were devastating to his gray matter.
Definitely hell.
His brain was mostly yogurt by mass.
But there's nothing like 23-hour-a-day lockdown. Nobody should be treated that way. Nobody should be treated that way. And I tell you what, I'm going to end it. And I'm going to do it with you, and we're going to do it together. There's no way a person who's in the dungeon for a misdemeanor charge, there's no reason.
You have 1 minute left.
There's no reason in the world they should be locked into a room for 23 hours a day, and we got to change it. So I'll try to end on a positive note. Thank you for your support. I appreciate you. If you sent me an
For me, it would be bound toilet tissue, but it is toilet tissue with words on it, so it could be read. The shit I'd put on it would be worth more, though, so maybe don't read it.
Their gifts, or if you sent me a book, I don't know who you are. No name comes on it. So let me just say now, thank you.
Sorry, not Nine Rand fan.
For your letter.
Surprise.
Thank you. For your support on my GoFundMe. There'll be another one tonight for the new charge I'm facing for obstructing.
We have Cabot yogurt. We have Cabot cheese. Is it the same? Because they're a co-op and they're awesome. And their cheese is hella good too.
First, thank you for your
I've not had their yogurt and I haven't seen it, but I've had their cheese. It's good.
Support.
Same guys? Awesome. Yeah.
Really
That's a dairy that is a co-op, to my understanding. Would recommend.
appreciate it. I love you. We don't stop. I'll see you when I get out of here. Thank you again. I'll see you on the next one. Later, Gators.
Still want that shirt that doesn't exist. Alright. Enough of him. What are we doing next? We watched a lot of these guys in their weird sovereign citizen conspiracy discussion the other day, and it was juicy enough that I wanted to continue. Here's right where we left off last time.
And these judges are investing these bonds.
Have I had Cabot mac and cheese? Oh yeah, their mac and cheese is fucking incredible. If you see Cabot mac and cheese, get it. Get it. Based because co-op, cheese, so always good. And on top of that, the cheese is also good. It's good cheese. It's really good.
Our prison systems, and therefore they're profiting from them illegally. That's an emolument violation according to Article 1, Section 6, Clause 8 of the Constitution, by using their position of power for illicit profit or gain.
Yes, and I've been saying that for years. Yeah, I've been saying that for years, that the jail
throne is legit. I am jealous of the chair.
systems, the prison
I almost feel
systems
bad for Chair.
of the United States is a for-profit
This is
corporation.
gonna give Chair body dysmorphia.
And people looked at me like I had 9
All of it
heads.
is.
Yeah. Yeah.
All of it is. I mean, look at it this way. We have roughly
Me and Chair will have something in common, though, so that's nice.
333 million people in the United States. There's 2 billion in China. That's 1/6 the population of China. And we have 6 times the prisoners that China has.
Yeah, that is fucked up. I agree.
In our prisons.
Unfortunately, these people's solution is not anything.
So if we have 1/6 the population, 6 times the prisoners, 6 times 6, 36, that's 360%.
Y'all can commiserate. That's my third favorite activity.
Percentage points above. Which is the freer country, us or China?
It's a good question, isn't it? It's a good question. From where we're just, let's
hold on. I need silly colored glasses too to make it seem like I have a personality. Here we go.
Switch gears here a little bit, if you don't mind, David. And by the way, Chief, anytime you want to jump in, by all means, please. If you got something to say or add to what David is saying, by all means, jump in. In regards to Trump coming back, I don't believe we're going to go to 2024 and he's going to run for re-election. I don't believe that scenario, can it happen that way? Yes. I believe that medical beds are real. I believe he's been in a couple already, and at least he's been.
You think you not only think that med beds are real, a fictional sci-fi technology that QAnon people believe in, you believe that Donald Trump has undergone treatments in med beds. Those not familiar with the lore of QAnon, med beds are supposed to be beds that cure all your illnesses and reverse aging. So apparently this guy thinks Trump is looking young and sprightly, which I don't see based on his recent appearances, but that's just me.
Maybe rejuvenated.
Thank you, standard display name. I agree.
On the inside, so that he doesn't make us too suspicious by being too rejuvenated on the outside. From where I'm looking,
$800 throne. Wait, there's a website called Throne Kingdom. Is that the same one? Hold on. That might not even be the same one. Okay, maybe it is. I think this one just has silver trim instead of gold. Yeah, they have different... Okay, that's what it was. They just have slightly different colors. That's pretty nuts. $800 for a throne. What do people... I mean, I guess there are contexts in which you need thrones. Damn. Someday, if I'm not a broke-ass bitch, this would be a business expense. I wonder if they're comfortable, because I'd have to sit in it for work, which is this. Don't know how comfortable a throne would be.
At it right now, David, I think it could happen any day, any week now. It's very close. At least that's what it looks like. We've been here before.
Positivity never hurts, Rainey.
And then
maybe the glasses will help.
Wake up just to find another 5 speed bumps in the road, and we've been there a couple of times too. So what do you have as far as that information?
Well, first of all, he never left. Second of all,
so they think Trump is still the president.
He announced at his last rally that he's back. It's announced on social media he's back. He sent me a T-shirt that says Trump is back.
Okay.
So he's back.
Okay. You got contact with him. I know that you've been to Mar-a-Lago. Is that safe to say?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I have.
Are you can pick up the phone and pretty much call him, or he has a Secret Service call you and say, Mr. Trump would like to speak with you?
Well, I'm not going to call and bug him. Okay.
That's a non-answer. He doesn't have the former president's phone number.
Obviously.
But I have the contacts to do that.
Do you? Okay, so he doesn't have his number, but he has the contacts to do it. He knows a guy who knows a guy who knows a guy who could maybe get in touch with Trump. That's basically having his phone number, right? That's the same thing.
Interesting. Okay. So at this point, because I just watched one of your videos yesterday, I put it in the room, and your video said that basically you were saying that Donald Trump is saying to tell the IRS to go pound sand. Okay. And from where I'm looking,
historically, I don't think that works out. Maybe look up Al Capone, and after you get through all the syphilis stuff, learn about the IRS.
What is the IRS?
The IRS is an illegal enterprise.
They're not registered.
That was like Mike saying they used a fake number shit. Yeah.
Sure.
Same vibe.
I have a letter from the Secretary of State of the state of Texas that has done all.
You're texting Obama daily? I've been talking to Rutherford B. Hayes for 6 months, and you would not believe how often Rutherford B. Hayes asks me for money. It's insane.
All the research, and it's a certified letter on the state of Texas letterhead from her office with her seal and her signature on it, showing the Internal Revenue Service is not a registered corporation to do business anywhere in the United States, much less anywhere in Texas. Who are they? Where did they come from? The Internal Revenue Service came out of the Department of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, a Puerto Rican registered company. It was put into place under the Federal Reserve, which at that time was under the World Bank, underneath the
What? Chitara says, imagine lying about being in the know about the plan and claiming to have direct line of contact with citizen Donald Trump to show off your conspiracy theorist buddies. That is the saddest. That's the saddest life. And I know something about... Sorry, I'm leaning too much on the self-deprecation. I'm good.
IMF through the Council on Foreign Relations underneath the United Nations. Ultimately, with control from the Crown Inc. And that's who they were. The 1040. The 1040 originated.
H-Baird says, 4 years ago, I got tons of text, quote, from Bernie Sanders and from Michael Bloomberg. So, you know, I'm pretty awesome.
During the Civil
My favorite ones is where they keep asking for money.
War with Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln stood in his presidency and told the people to consider it a gift to help fund the war efforts. The 1040 has always been a gift tax. You sign it under the pains of...
No. Nope. If you don't pay your income tax, that's not going to go well for you. Don't fuck with the IRS. Just don't do it.
penalties of perjury by voluntary compliance. So therefore it's voluntary.
It is not.
People don't understand the definition of words, so they don't understand that the words wages and income mean different things.
Oh no.
Wages is money earned by the sweat of one's brow, and it's untaxable as per the Constitution.
Nope.
Income is money earned on wages already earned that's been invested. Okay.
No.
So
that's capital gains. Yeah, it's capital gains.
You don't know the difference. Most people don't meet the definition of a taxpayer. Most companies don't meet the definition of a withholding agent. So therefore they're withholding money out of your paycheck illegally.
No, it's illegal for them to not do that, actually. They need to do that. So that's the opposite of the truth.
And fiat currency on every one of your notes in your wallet, whether it's a $1 bill note or a 5 or a 10 or...
Listen up, boomer. You think I use cash? What's wrong with you? You still use a checkbook too?
Or 20 or 50 or 100, I'll say it's a note. It's all legal tender. It's a debt note. The only way we can discharge is with silver or gold. We can't coinage. We cannot discharge anything with a debt note.
You can. It is currency. It is used to buy goods and services and service debt. So yes, you can. It's actually the global petrodollar. So it's like the best currency if you're looking for stability. I don't know.
And debt notes, according to the IRS, are untaxable. The United States Code in Title 26 is the IRS code. And in Title 26 of the United States Code, it says it's not law. I mean, start adding it up. Why the hell are you paying taxes anyway? The only fair tax is a tariff.
I have this whole thing about not wanting to go to jail. It'd be really hard to do my stream from there, although Chile seems to make it work, so...
The only fair tax is a tariff, a sales tax on goods and services you buy that are not for life, housing, medical, food. Those things shouldn't be taxed, but everything else should be. And those taxes are to pay for the services that we...
He's basically advocating for like a flat sales tax, which is a terrible idea and puts more burden on poor and middle-class people, on working people, and off of wealthy people. So no, that's not great. A consumption tax hurts working people and helps rich assholes.
Ask them to provide. And there's 19 essential governmental services we ask the federal government to provide us with. There's services we ask the states to provide us with in the state constitutions. And those tariffs and sales taxes are for that. I'm happy to pay taxes. I'm all for government. I'm just for limited, non-corrupt government.
Totally.
And so I'm happy to pay a tax at the pump.
Totally.
I pay a tax at the pump, gas pump, in order to keep my roads fixed. Right? That's what that's for. It's not.
Does he understand that the amount of money that is required by the budget to raise would affect, like, however much he's paying right now, or should be paying right now, let's say, an income tax, if they got rid of the income tax and adjusted it to a flat sales tax-based system, he wouldn't save money. If anything, he would be paying more in taxes. It would just be a slower drip throughout the year every time he bought something. Basically, he's just dumb and doesn't like the sticker shock of looking at his tax bill in March, April, whatever, and instead is like, I'd rather pay more money every day at the cash register because I don't know what I'm talking about. It's absurd.
To be taken out of my income taxes or my property taxes.
And for most people, by the way, it doesn't even matter because it's withheld by your employer. Most people are employees, so it's withheld. So that's not even an issue for most people.
Yeah.
See, they stole all your property anyway. They stole your car, they stole your home, they stole your life, they stole your children. They do it.
Sir, your wife and children aren't your property. They're human beings. What are you talking about? I have to use the bathroom again. Wow. Been peeing a lot. Cher will tell you about the foreign film Goodnight Mommy, which is actually really good. I would recommend it. It's a really good thriller / horror movie. Please watch Goodnight Mommy. Not the honestly, they made an American remake on Amazon. The American remake wasn't as good as the original, even by a little bit, but it was better than I thought it would be. And they did change the ending, so that's cool. Watch Goodnight Mommy. I feel like I didn't do a good job of selling that, and this is actually one of my favorite foreign, like, thriller movies. Like, it's not Old Boy, but it's pretty good. Basically, these twins have a mom. I haven't taken this out of the package yet, if you can tell. The twins have a mom who comes home with bandages all over her face. She's seemingly had some kind of surgery, and the kids suspect that this isn't really their mom. She doesn't act the same as she did before she came home from the hospital. Is this really their mom? Is it someone disguised as the mom? You'll have to watch the film to find out. It's like reading Rainbow, but for movies.
Through false and fraudulent doctrines, and they steal. And you don't even know that you are doing that. You think you live in a country, think you're free.
I'm really sorry to do this again. I just realized I'm out of water and I'm very dehydrated. So sorry. Here, mosquito. I'm back for realsies. Take a look, it's in a book, a reading rainbow. Have I seen The Night Eats the World? No, I've not seen that.
Well, the best slaves are the ones that believe they're free. Those are the best slaves.
Absolutely.
I don't know about that. Kind
Now,
of seems like it would be hard to get them to do what you wanted then.
who gets the income tax when the United States people who earn a wage pay income tax? I understand it goes to the UK. I believe it goes to the Vatican. Am I correct or am I off?
You're very off. That's very, very off. Here's something real that Chili and the Sobsits don't talk about. Demetrio Jackson was handcuffed and in distress when a medic injected him with ketamine. He was among dozens of people who died after they were chemically sedated during police encounters, and AP investigation finds. Holy fucking shit. Holy shit, that's fucked up. God damn. Thanks for the horrifying link.
It does. It goes through the Council of Foreign Relations, the International Monetary Fund of the World Bank, which is owned by the Vatican and the Crown. However, the Vatican ended their relationship, canceled all corporations, ended their relationship at the end of Pope Benedict's term. The current Pope is no longer the Vicar of Christ, he's the Vicar of Satan. He has...
This is a lot, isn't it?
Satanic marks on his staff. He's remodeled the basement of the Vatican into a satanic.
What about the basement of the Alamo? Have they remodeled that?
Worship center, and the Crown has been dissolved. The City of London has been dissolved. The United States Corporation has been dissolved, and we have a new Declaration of Independence that President Trump signed on July the 4th, 2020. We have a new nation. But let me ask you this question. Back in 1776, when the Declaration of Independence was signed by our founding fathers, and there was approximately 7 million people living in the United States at the time, how long did it take for the people to know that a declaration was signed in 1776?
Sir, in 1776, we didn't have phones or the internet or even the telegraph. So yes, it took a long time for information to spread because they literally had to hand deliver it. Or at best get like a carrying pigeon or something. So no, that doesn't make sense to explain why you think Donald Trump is the super duper secret president and we just don't know about it. H-Beard says, wow, so many things have been dissolved. Acid rain must be making a comeback.
Most people didn't come to the...
Oh, yeah. No. He said Declaration of Independence, not Constitution, didn't he? He said Declaration.
conclusion we had a new nation until 1791, 15 years later. So President Trump signed the new Declaration of Independence July the 4th, 2020. How long is it going to take the American people, even with the advent of internet and...
Imagine how long it would take to get the Declaration of Independence to Hawaii in 1776. Funny.
Messaging and instant gratification, is it going to take how long for us to know that we have a new nation here and to stand up and start recognizing it? Demand that our cities and our counties and our states dissolve the corporations and we come out of her, O ye Babylon. To come out of
Babylon thing again. Again, they don't like how the world is. So they demand that the entire world stop and reset specifically to their whim. And they don't think this is an unreasonable, like, thing. They have no room for compromise or understanding, like, navigating the beliefs of others. No. Everyone already wants what he wants, and we should all demand it.
O ye Babylon is to come out of the corporate construct. And we need to start demanding it at our local level.
Credit Cuttlefish with 23 months at tier 2 says new Declaration of Independence. From whom exactly? Trump. Oh no, Trump to the corporation, the Postal Service. Also 23 months, woo. A lot of these people think that the Postal Service is in charge of the world. They seem to think the Vatican is at the top, which they might think is involved with the Postal Service. I don't know.
At our cities, our counties, and our states. And then we meet President Trump in the middle. And that's what all of it's waiting on. You want freedom, you want Nasara, you want utopia here on earth, you want things fair and an honest justice system. Dissolve the corporations. Because why is a corporation, why would you...
To be clear, when he says corporation, it's not based. He doesn't mean private corporations. He thinks that the United States government and all the governments of the world are secretly private corporations. So he's not saying, like, you know, fuck Amazon, which would be pretty based. He's saying, fuck the United States, fuck Canada, fuck every government of the world. It's secretly a for-profit corporation run by a secret cabal. So that's what he means. H-Bird says, I think I know why they think the Postal Service is in charge.
When you control the mail, you control
information.
As a person, set up a corporation to remove your liability, right? Now let me see how that makes sense. Governments incorporate to remove their liability so no one's responsible for the things that they do, and we can't sue them.
You can sue the government. What are you talking about? You can sue state governments, local governments, the federal government. You can sue any and all of those entities.
Because they have limited diplomatic immunity?
What? No, you can sue the government. What are you talking about?
No, we, the people, have limited diplomatic immunity, see? You guys got it all backwards.
We have diplomatic immunity, see?
Yeah.
Most of the American people have it all backwards. We have limited diplomatic immunity as per the Geneva Conventions. We're sovereign, free, and independent people of the states that make up the Union of States.
Yes.
Gosh, we got to restore our republic, every state.
Totally in agreement with you, David. I've been at this for 30 years, beating this drum. Okay. And now I'm part of that 17th letter. Yeah. I'm part of that 17th letter in the alphabet that nobody's allowed to mention because
Q. He's talking about the letter Q.
We are on this platform called Communist YouTube, which
Communist YouTube, run by famous communist private for-profit conglomerate Google. Sorry, it's Alphabet now, actually. It's Google.
which I hope that, Elon Musk or somebody that's equal to Elon Musk would step up and buy it so that we could restore the freedom of speech. But let's talk about Jassara Nassara being signed into law. I've heard this from very reliable sources on a global level. And I understand that Xi Jinping is not a bad guy. I understand that Putin is not a bad guy. I understand Bolsonaro is not a bad guy. I understand.
Wow, they really love dictators.
And that Pundi is not a bad guy. I understand that these are going to be the presidents, along with Trump, the kings that are going to rule the world. And
He just said it. He just said it with his mouth.
the world's supposedly going to be divided up to 7 continents as we roll out Jassara Nassara full-blown, hopefully in the next year or two. I still think it's still going to take a little time because we got to wake up at least 85% of the people. We're not there yet.
You think 15% of people believe the stuff you believe? That's an overestimation.
Well, I'll tell you what. Back in August, we reached 1 million state nationals. In December, we hit 1.4 million. Last week, we hit 2.2 million state nationals. People are waking up to the tune of more than 125,000 a month in the United States, and they're waking up all over the world. I get calls from all over the world to come speak. It's not just a United States thing. The rest of the world is trying to watch us wake up. And this is not a U.S. thing, but we're the leaders.
If you told you 25% of America believe in QAnon, you'd believe it. It's closer to 15, and that doesn't include all the extra crazy stuff they're talking about here. I think it's about 15% believe in at least one aspect of QAnon, which is still too much, don't get me wrong. But I believe last time I checked, it was between 12 and 15% believe at least some aspects of QAnon. They don't necessarily self-identify as QAnon believers, but they might believe that there's underground sex trafficking being orchestrated by officials in the government. And they don't mean, like, Matt Gaetz. They mean, like, Pizzagate stuff.
People, the free people of the world. We're the free people, but we're not. We've all been enslaved as chattel property. Bill Clinton mentioned that in his executive orders. He took out a lien on them, all men and women with arms and legs. I mean,
what?
On and on and on. We are leaned up property. People don't know that we're all wealthy. I'm worth hundreds of millions of dollars.
If everyone was worth hundreds of millions of dollars, then no one would be wealthy. Like, if you want wealth, wealth is definitionally in comparison to those who have not. You cannot be wealthy amongst everyone else being wealthy. You could try and have an egalitarian society where everyone is provided for, and I think that's a valiant, like, goal. But you're not all wealthy, you're all taken care of. Wealth is, again, defined in comparison to haves and have-nots. You can't all be wealthy.
If not billions of dollars. And I have a trust account to that effect.
You don't.
Yeah.
You understand?
I understand.
Are the creditors.
Yeah.
We're the full faith and credit of the United States government. We're the government. And it says that in
You're a citizen.
Every state constitution.
Well, you're cattle. The minute you come out of your mother, they literally ink your feet, and you get fingerprinted from your feet on up, and you are literally part of the corporation that they've
for identification purposes
been trading on the open market for eons, and people
that doesn't even make any sense.
Understand that.
That's right. That's right. And we can access those funds.
Yeah,
no, he's not actually a trust fund, baby. Sovereign citizens believe that they have these accounts that everyone they think has that are secretly millions or billions of dollars. It's just a nonsense conspiracy.
Yeah, I know we can, and we probably will once Jassara Nassara comes into full play and the RV becomes the real deal, etc.
You can do it now and force Jassara and Nassara to come into play. This is the problem. We, the people, have to do it now. We are not waiting on someone else to do it for us. It won't come into play if we wait. It comes into play when we meet them in the middle.
Oh, okay. Sorry, chicken bit.
Absolutely. I've been saying this forever. I'm getting chills talking to you. Seriously. Okay. Now here's the thing. Were you aware that Iran and North Korea were the first two countries to actually sign that they're part of Nassara Jassara? Were you aware of that?
I was. Absolutely.
Wow. Okay. So we're on the same page. It's amazing. Did you watch, not to switch gears, did you watch
I already talked about what Nassara Jassara is. I have briefly. Basically, it's the hypothetical wipeout. It's a conspiracy where they think all debt will be erased. Like, if you have a mortgage, you'll no longer owe money on your mortgage. If you have a bunch of credit card debt, no you don't. If you are renting an apartment or house, it's yours now. Basically, they want the end of capitalism, but they don't actually... They rhetorically can't say that because they're right-wing, so they call it Nassara Jassara, and they call it a quantum financial system, when in reality it's basically they're mad at capitalism. It's kind of funny.
1,000 mules. I call it 20,000 mules because you can't pull that off with 2,000 mules. And you know what they call 2,000 horses when they get caught? 2,000 jackasses.
That's right.
He meant mules. He didn't do the joke right.
That's right.
Okay.
See, here's the thing. It wasn't even 2,000 mules. It's 200,000 mules. People just don't know that.
Yeah.
It's every Dominion machine. I mean,
wow. Huffing Mike's pillows, I see. Gitara says, we need to do something. Everything will change if we stop waiting around. Do something, said the man doing nothing.
Dominion is what destroyed Venezuela.
Absolutely.
The same system. They tested out there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So I watched that thing, David, twice, very attentively. I got an attention span of, I don't even know what to equate it to, but I got an incredible attention span. And I watched it twice, and I said to myself after the second time, I said, if you were to bring in all the
Schifazoa with a $15 tip gets us to $400 of the way to the $1,000 costume month goal in order to help out, because times have been tough, and frankly, I've been in the negative a lot, and rent's coming up. So thank you everyone who's helped donate to that and get us closer to 30 consecutive days of costumes. And Schifazoa with that tip said, we've got to have money. I remember that clip.
Justices of the United States, the Supreme Court justices, and put them in a room and have sheriffs with handcuffs, just literally handy, saying, okay, you sit down, give me your phones, no distractions, watch the movie. No distractions. After you watch the movie, if you don't come to a conclusion, irrefutable, irrevocable evidence,
Fennikagami with 50 bits says, speaking as someone whose first child was stillborn, I'm really annoyed that the birth certificate and footprints and everything the hospital did for us to help us, or rather, I'm really annoyed that the birth certificate, footprints, and everything that the hospital did for us that help us cope with the loss, they're calling it something evil and sinister. It's almost as infuriating as when I hear pro-life people functionally fetishize my dead daughter. Ooh, that does suck. I'm sorry.
Undoubtedly that this was completely a sham. We're taking you down to Guantanamo Bay. Are you on the same page? Because to me, that was...
So you're basically saying you want to threaten the Supreme Court justices to do the thing you want them to do? Smart.
Was a slam and dunk situation. There's no other way to put it.
Well, let me tell you another thing. It doesn't even have to be sheriffs with the Supreme Court. The sheriffs need to get their asses in there.
The belief that sheriffs are the ultimate authority in terms of law enforcement comes from the Posse Comitatus movement, a white supremacist movement from the 70s.
Area and find those mules and arrest them and haul them before their state's legislature to testify under oath, and then demand this. The sheriff needs to demand the state legislature to revoke the delegates and put President Trump back in office.
You can't do that.
Absolutely.
That's what needs to
No,
happen.
they're not talking about Trump immunity. They're talking about Trump still being the president. Yeah.
They don't need the Supreme Court to do it.
Absolutely. Now, in regards to the...
sheriff
Yeah.
can go arrest it anyway.
Totally agreed. Totally agreed. Illegal aliens crossing the border in the United States in droves, in the hundreds of thousands, probably per week. There are untold millions at this present time. I was told, and I believe this to be true, and this is why I think Mr. Trump is as calm as a feather, is because in order for you to get your Jasara Nasara UBI, you have to go back to your country of origin.
Yep, we got there. It took 37 minutes, but they got to the racist shit.
That's right.
Okay, so you don't get $6,000 a month if you're in the United States illegally. So if I was you, I would get the hell out now. Go back to your countries this week because it's coming. The $6,000 a month UBI. Go ahead.
Well, hold on a minute. I wouldn't put a value on it. Okay.
Okay.
First of all, 6,000 a month. Don't put a value on that. Here's what I would do. Look at it like this. The people born in Mexico have Mexico birth certificates. That Mexico birth certificate under the United Nations, under the International Monetary Fund, is bonded and was insured. It has a CUSIP number. It has a Cesta-QB trust, as all countries of the world do. Those people have their trust money already. It's already there. Nasara and Jasara are nothing more really than allowing us to be the co-trustees, the co-beneficiaries, and the only.
H-Bird says you gotta be more Machiavellian about it, go along with what they want to do, and then reinstate Trump at 11:59 a.m. Eastern, January 20th, 2025, so then Trump will have had 2 terms and be ineligible to run again, and that second term will end in 1 minute.
Only signatory officers of our trust, as the public charitable trust tells us we are. See, all governments are formed in trust, and the government is the trustees of the people, which are the beneficiaries. And the beneficiaries have a trust indenture with millions of dollars in it that they are co-trustees and co-beneficiaries. It's supposed to be a partnership with government. And government puts up the initial investment, bonds it, insures it, manages the securities, does a good job on their side.
Okay, I'm done with them for the day. They're exhausting. I will save this for next time. Alright, I think we're done for the day. That was a good 3 hours, a little over. Caught up on Chili and his board game. Saw a police chase. Pretty full day. Fenekagami says, so what you're saying is the Sovset movement is like the explosion of private schools, just a desperate attempt to keep segregation going. Honestly, there are some comparisons, yeah. Alright, thanks everyone for hanging out. I will be back tomorrow. We're also doing a patron-only stream tomorrow after the regular stream, so if you want to be a part of that, join the Patreon, patreon.com/HannahReloaded. If you watch the VOD later, consider helping to get to the costume day and helping get to the goal. Other than that, have a great night, everyone. See ya. Love you, Mr. Blast, and I will see y'all tomorrow. Adios.